Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is everything Broncos and sports topics related, and also given to you with emotion, passion, the honesty, and of course, my comments. I am your host, Bronco Bill. Thanks, guys, for being in the or watching the show wherever you may be. I really do appreciate it. We have people watching all over the country and maybe anywhere else. I just don't know where they are unless they're in the chat. Big E says, Big E Brown says, I hope everybody's having a good day. Heck yeah, man. Having a great day. It's Friday, doing the show. Whole lot of different topics. Got kind of a weird one down the road, but, we'll get into that. So, and then, of course, we got the main topic. But I'll get into that in a little bit. I want to get into some other stuff before that. Avatar, always great to have you in the house. Hey, you're not batting leadoff, man. You're batting second. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, man, you're in the top. You're in the top. Top of. There you go. Now you come in with. What's up, Broncos country in 2023 NBA champs Nuggets Nation. All right. Well, I'm glad you let Big E Bronco, take the leadoff spot. That's cool. That's awful nice of you, man. Really appreciate it. That's nice. Somebody else there like to jump in every now and then, so it's cool. All right. This, we thought last year, at least I thought last year, that the injury bug would not come up and bite us again. And I'm starting to wonder if it's the turf that the players are practicing on. Because here we go again. KJ Hamler, poor guy. And this is not an injury, but it's serious. So I wanted to lead off with this. KJ Hamler. The Denver Broncos have released KJ Hamler, or I should say waived. I don't know the difference if there's if somebody's waived or somebody's released. I know if you're waived, you can come back. I'm not sure if that's the same with release. So I shouldn't say release. I should say waived. Okay. The Broncos have waived KJ Hamler, but not because of an injury or moving on from him. I quote from KJ Hamler. After feeling some chest pains before camp started, I got checked out and was diagnosed with mild heart irritation called, and I'm going to try and pronounce this right, but I don't know if I can, pericarditis, whatever that is. Anyways, it's a irritation in the heart. He says, and I continue quoting, I'm taking a quick break with medication and treatment so I can get back to doing what I love. End quote. Okay, KJ, first and foremost, we saw this with Hamlin last year. We saw this last year. We don't need this again. We don't need this again. So take your time. Don't try and rush back. I mean, I don't know what obviously the Hamlin thing was much more serious, undoubtedly. But this is serious as well because it deals with your heart. That's what keeps you alive. So take your time. Don't try and rush back. If you're waived, the Broncos could possibly bring you back, and that would be phenomenal, but only when you're 100% healthy. Okay, KJ, we want the best for you, man. We want the best for you. Now, I would have loved to have seen you, on the field this year, but not at the expense of your health, because football only lasts an average of 5 years in the NFL. Yeah, sure. If you're Tom Brady, you can go for 105, something like that. But the average is like 5 to 7 years. So KJ, you got a life to live after football. Take care of yourself. Okay. All right. We'd love to see you back, but only and only if you're 100% healthy. Avatar says, message was sent for somebody else. It's totally fine. I get it. That was a message prior to him saying, what's up, Broncos country. So anyways, all right. Jonas Griffith, the linebacker that was just epic last year. Well, he won't be epic this year. And here's why. Before the first week of training camp was completed, the injury bug has raised its ugly head yet again last Tuesday. Linebacker Jonas Griffith left the practice field with, oh my a knee injury. Do they hope that it's good news? No, not the way this preseason's gone. That injury turned out to be a season-ending torn, you got it, guys, ACL. And he's out for the entire season. That means there are 4 key players that won't be on the Broncos this season. They are wide receiver Tim Patrick, torn Achilles, and I'll get in that story. Wide receiver KJ Hamler, pericarditis, that's that heart condition. Cornerback Riley Moss, core muscle surgery. And inside linebacker Jonas Griffith, torn ACL. Can it get any worse, guys? Can it really get any worse than what we saw last year? I mean, holy smokes. We saw, not Latavius Murray, we saw Williams go down with a torn ACL and MCL and every other CL he could find in his leg that was shot. And he's now on the mends and coming back. But then we had Tim Patrick with the ACL. And now we got 4 guys. Well, 3 of them are, injuries on the field. The other one's a, medical heart issue. Oh my gosh, guys. Football's a tough sport, but I'm really starting to wonder with these injuries, these 3 of the 4, the injuries out for the season or possibly out for the season, are not turf related, or they're not something to do with, I don't know, what do they call it now? It's not the health center that it used to be. It's a different one, Century Health Center, whatever. I'm wondering if that field or even the outside field has something to do with it. I sure hope not, but I don't know. I mean, this is back-to-back years where we had these serious injuries. I mean, season-ending injuries. And it's very, very sad. Very sad, because these guys are key players. Key players. I mean, who's Russell Wilson going to throw? Oh, that's right. We're not throwing the ball as much as we're going to run the ball. So, okay, I guess we can have a couple receivers out. No, you can't. No, you can't. Because all that does is just pin the ears of the defense back. Goes, they ain't going to pass it. Who are they going to pass it to? Jerry Judy, Cortland Sutton? They'll double team both or double team one of them, whatever. Man, these injuries are just frustrating. We haven't even gotten the first preseason, which is a week from today, by the way. A week from today, guys. The Denver Broncos will have their first preseason at Arizona. I was going to go to that game, but family issues and situations came up that doesn't allow me to be there. Plus, I'm pretty sure I have a very special guest next Friday. So, anyways, I'll give you some more of that down the road. All right, let's see. It's a good thing he's got a college, because I think his career is over. Yeah, you know what? That is what's so sad, Big E Bronco. It's so sad because he has these injuries, and he just, he just can't stay on the field, and it's very, very sad for KJ Hamler. I feel extremely bad for him. Actually, I feel bad for the person I'm gonna bring up here in a minute. My brother-in-law says, Rudy Torres says, hey, Bill, I'm here. All right, man. All right. Hey, everybody in there, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you have not. And if you're so inclined, hit the super chat. Really would appreciate it. Don't have to, but hey, just thought I'd throw that out there. All right. Jerry Wallace says, think positive, Bill. I am positive. But, when you lose key players and the injuries keep mounting up, it's disheartening. It really is. I mean, Tim Patrick, it's just an amazing receiver. And then you got KJ Hamler with his issues. It's very, very sad, especially under, first year head coach for the Broncos, not first year head coach in the NFL, but for the Broncos. It's sad because, he's trying to do his best he can. He's trying to get Russell Wilson to, be the Russell Wilson of old. And then when you take down half of his weapons, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. So we'll just see what transpires. Hopefully this common denominator of injuries of the past several years, at least the last 2, start to diminish. Please start to diminish. I can't take any more of this. All right. All right. My brother Rudy says having a bud and a bud, which I'm not even gonna go there, dude. Not even gonna go there. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Biggie says it happens on every team. It's just a good thing for the Broncos. It's all backup players right now. Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, or KJ Hamler, I mean, are backup players. I wouldn't think Tim Patrick would be. Maybe KJ, but I wouldn't have said Tim Patrick. No, not especially if you have 3 wide receivers. I believe he'd be the 3rd wide receiver, no doubt. Let's see. Avatar says Browns beat the Jets last night, and it will be without King Rodgers in the game, and it was with that. Yeah, I know, but I got some stuff to talk about that, which I find kind of interesting. But glad you brought that up there, Avatar. Absolutely. And then one last comment before we get to the next topic. Avatar says, I'm looking forward to seeing what Mims can do. I am too. I just read some things where he's actually developing a little slowly into adapting to the NFL, which is understandable. I mean, he's coming right out of college. Of course he is. But, the speed of the game and all that. But, hopefully he takes, he takes that next level and be at that NFL mindset and NFL grasping the game and all that kind of stuff. So I really do hope it really works out. Okay, so Biggie says Tim Patrick was 4th at wide receiver, especially after they drafted Mims. Okay, but wait a minute. That's interesting because if he was a 4th wide receiver after Mims hadn't even proven himself in the NFL, not at all. And so that's interesting that would be the evaluation. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying it's just interesting to me because I would think that a proven NFL wide receiver would be above a draft pick right out of college, but I could be wrong. Okay, more injuries, and we just alluded to this in the chat. Tim Patrick is done for the 2023 season. Again, he missed all last year with the ACL. Now he's out again. What's the reason? Well, during 7-on-7 drills, Patrick went down on a non-contact injury, which turned out to be a clean torn of an Achilles tendon. Wow. Patrick was coming back from a torn ACL, like I mentioned, which he suffered last season. Tim was visibly upset and threw his helmet after his injury. I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit. This guy worked hard to come back this year. He worked extremely hard to come back. And then to have another season-ending injury, this guy is snake bit. Absolutely snake bit. And it's totally sad and unfortunate because, in my opinion, he had a good, if not great, career ahead of him. He has great hands. He has great route running. He just has a nose for the football. And I'm saddened for him. I really am. I mean, yeah, the Broncos take a hit, but like they say, next man up. But I hate to say that in Tim Patrick's case, because I mean, it's bad enough to have one season-ending injury, but to go back to back, now he's losing 2 years or more in getting back into football shape, if he ever does. I know he'll probably be determined to come back, and hopefully he will, and maybe he will. But wow, to have back-to-back devastating injuries. I mean, I can just imagine. He wakes up in the morning going, what the heck? I just did this last year. Now I got to go through some more rehab, some more things I got to do, some more exercise, some more. I mean, at one point, guys, do you look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm done. Enough's enough. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. What's going to happen next? I had an ACL. Now I have an Achilles. What's next? Broken leg? I mean, I understand football, and I mentioned this many times. Football is a very contact sport. It's a very physical sport. That's very, very true. And there's injuries that do happen. But wow, to be that snake bit back-to-back years. Tim Patrick, I'll tell you what, man. If you have it in you, I look forward to seeing you hopefully in 2024. Unbelievable in a non-contact move or whatever. The Tim Patrick tore his ACL and out for the year. That's just, I don't know how you come back from that. To me, I'd be going, what's the use? I mean, because I'm not Tim Patrick. I'm not that guy. All right. Wish I was and had that ability and had that skill set. I don't. But Tim Patrick, I wish you all the best, man. Hope to see you on the field in 2024. All right. So my nephew, Robert Riff, says Broncos need to look at their practicer. That's what I said earlier. So why so many injuries to wide receivers year in and year out? That's exactly what I said. I don't know if it's the indoors one, because that's not where they're playing now. They're on the outdoors at the Century. They're at some field. I can't remember what it is, but I know it's Health Center somewhere. Dove Valley, I know that, but you know what I'm saying, the actual name. I have to believe it can't be the training, because Hackett last year had cupcake training and cupcake walkthroughs, that kind of stuff, because he tried to prevent the injuries, and they still happened. And now Sean Payton comes in and does a totally different type of regimen when it comes to training, and we're still getting injuries. So my thought is it's got to be the turf. It's got to be something. It can't be what Hackett was doing. We'll get to Hackett stuff later on. Excuse me. It can't be what Hackett was doing, because Sean Payton's not doing the same thing. He's doing things differently. But the turf is still the same. That's my concern. Is it turf? Is it synthetic and grass mixed? I don't know. Is it the cleats they're using? Is it the fact they may not be using cleats? I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. And they're not sharing it to anybody in the media. So I don't know. But that concerns me, because we're talking about two different head coaches, two different styles of preparing, and two different styles and types of training. So it can't be that. In my opinion, it can't be that. It's got to be the turf or something else. And I'm not sure what I can put my finger on that's something else. Can't be strength and conditioning, because how's that going to mess up? Well, I guess it could mess up your legs or feet. I don't know. It just bothers me, because now it's happened twice, back-to-back years, two different schemes on how to prepare. That's what bothers me. Great comment there, Robert. Really appreciate it. All right. We move on to a former Denver Bronco, could be somewhere else. Free agent guard and former Broncos player Dalton Risner has been visiting the Minnesota Vikings. And that's per Mike Kliss of 9 News. Okay. So we know it's legit, because I don't bring anything. I don't bring anything that's not legit on here, except maybe my comments, but they're in my comments. Okay. The Vikings offensive line coach was the assistant offensive line coach of the Broncos the past 3 seasons, and Risner was there. So why wouldn't Dalton Risner go to the Vikings? That wouldn't hurt the Vikings at all. And I miss Dalton Risner. I liked him on the Broncos. I wish he would have stayed. But everybody out there knows, if you follow me enough to know, that my favorite NFC team is the Minnesota Vikings. Always has been since 1970. And then I became a Broncos fan in 76, and they're my favorite team overall. But the Vikings are my favorite NFC team. I would love to see Dalton Risner go there. Absolutely. I don't want him to go anywhere else if he's still going to be playing other than Denver or Minnesota. Plain and simple. And if he has a chance to play there, why not? Why not? Better than the Chiefs, better than the Chargers or Raiders or anywhere else. Any of the other 29 teams or 30 teams. 32 are the teams, right? Yeah. If it's not Denver or Minnesota, I don't want him on any of the other teams. All right. Dalton Risner, I wish you all the best, man. Miss you in Denver, but I wish you all the best. All right. Frank Clark said something. Now, Frank Clark is a former Kansas City Chiefs pass rusher. And now he's on the Denver Broncos. And he had a comment, or he had a response, I should say, to a question when he was at the press conference. So let me get into that. Former Chiefs pass rusher Frank Clark, when asked about the Broncos and Chiefs rivalry, he said, and I quote, "I wouldn't call it a rivalry." What? He says, "I wouldn't call it a rivalry. A rivalry is supposed to be competitive, and that hasn't happened in many years." End quote. What? Holy smokes, dude. You talk about slapping. Wait a minute. You talk about slapping the Broncos' face? You just left the Chiefs, came over to the Broncos, and now you're punking the Broncos and saying it's not a rivalry? Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it needs to be more competitive to have that, that energy and the passion from the fans. And you don't need energy and passion from the fans when the Chiefs come to Denver or the Broncos go to Kansas City. Those fans hate the Broncos in Kansas City, and we can't stand the Chiefs and hate them in Denver. Same with the Chargers. Same with the Raiders. So a rivalry to me is somebody in your division, somebody that you can't stand. We can't stand the Patriots. Well, Patriots aren't that good anymore, so we don't care. We can't stand the Patriots. And apparently, according to Sean Payton, we can't stand the Jets either. It's understandable. But how can you say it's not a rivalry? A rivalry is supposed to be competitive. Come on, man. Competitive. Okay, maybe on the field we haven't beaten the Chiefs and we haven't beaten the Raiders all that much, but we certainly haven't beaten the Chiefs in the last, 5-6 seasons, something like that. But competitive to me is within a division. The Broncos get up for the Chiefs. The Broncos get up for everybody in their division. Why? Because it's in their freaking division. They have to win those games in order to secure a playoff spot. And when that doesn't happen, you end up like the Broncos last year and end up in last place, winning only 5 games. That's the reason it's competitive. Hey, Frank, come on, man. You're over in Denver now, right here. See this? That doesn't say St. Louis. That doesn't say Kansas City, does it? And dang sure doesn't say Chiefs. So quit punking the Broncos. And you know what? You know what, Frank? You could have answered that question by saying, hey, you know what? A rivalry sometimes to me means, competitive. And the Broncos and Chiefs have been competitive. The scores just haven't come out that way. But, hey, I'm on the Broncos now. And frankly, I can't stand – not frankly, I don't mean a intended pun. But frankly, I can't stand the Chiefs. Nope. Not what he said. Nope. No, it's not – I wouldn't call it a rivalry. Not competitive. Frank, you're starting off on the wrong foot, dude. Seriously? On the wrong freaking foot. Oh, my gosh. What am I going to do with these people, man? I keep bringing these stories left and right, these topics and stuff. It's just, they don't learn. They don't learn, Oh, well, what am I going to say? All right. Let's see. Glenn Hauser says, Frank is correct. Some games have competitive, but we've lost every game for many years. Glenn, that's very, very true. And thanks so much for being in the chat, bro. I appreciate it. That is true. But like I mentioned, competitive to me is you get up for the team in your division. Now, whether or not you can physically compete with them on the field because you either have a horrible head coaching staff or you just don't have the pieces, of the puzzle on offense or defense to make it happen. To me, that it's still a rivalry because we hate Kansas City. And I can't, everybody knows how much I, dislike the Chargers and nobody likes the Raiders anyways. So to me, that's how a rivalry is. It's the teams that you can't stand. Now, physically on the field, when you're getting your butt kicked like 40-10 or whatever, because we couldn't seem to score more than I'll get into that too. But when it comes down to, competitive on the field, sure. The rivalry is dominated is what's happening. The rivalry is dominated. But to me, it's still a rivalry because of the teams we cannot stand. Same with the Patriots. When it was Manning and Brady, it was on, and that's the main reason. And that's how I feel. Okay. That's just me. That's just me with my opinion. That's how I feel. Oh, thanks, Avatar, for rubbing it in even more. It's been 7 seasons since we've been the Chiefs. Oh, well, hopefully that ends this year. So Following up on Frank Clark, Glenn says, I actually love that Clark said this. Shows that the Kansas City locker room is saying this was perfect. Okay, this was perfect, meaning that is bulletin board material for the Chiefs or for the Broncos? Probably more or less what you're saying, bulletin board for the Broncos. Yeah, I get it. Maybe he's trying to light a fire under the Broncos by saying, hey, we haven't been, we now, because he's on there, we haven't been competitive. So we need to elevate our game. We need to step up so we can make this a rivalry, a true rivalry. Okay, I'll give you that, Glenn. I'll give you that. That's a good point. Very, very good point. Okay. Sean Payton. Can we get enough of Sean Payton or what? With Sean Payton's comments about Nathaniel Hackett and his horrible head coaching in Denver, apparently Sean Payton has trolled people before. And this bothers me because if he's done this type of thing before, this is a pattern. This is an absolute pattern. And I'm not liking what I'm about ready to share with you guys. Because if it's a pattern, every single one that he's done before has resulted in the loss of that game. He needs to keep his mouth shut, like he said to his players and coaches that he turned around and did the opposite. He needs to listen to his inner self. Keep your freaking mouth shut, Peyton, because you've done this before. And it's not worked out. And it's not in your best interest. And I'm not liking the way this is going. I continue. In the game against the Minnesota Vikings a couple of seasons ago, he was seen doing, and it's in video, I watched it, he's seen doing the Vikings fan skull chant. If you guys don't know what that is, it's like this. Skull, skull. That's what it is. And he was seen doing that on the sidelines. Hang on. Right before the Minneapolis Miracle, when the throw and catch by Cousins to Diggs resulted in the game-winning touchdown with 25 seconds left of the game. Loss number one. Okay? Loss number one. Peyton also made a choking motion towards Atlanta Falcons sideline and Devontae Freeman. The Saints also, number two, lost that game to the Falcons after that attempted troll. Sean, keep your freaking gestures and your mouth shut. Period. Don't do it. All you're doing is firing up the other team. You don't think the Vikings saw you do that? The skull thing? Come on, man. That's easy. That's easily seen. Easier, I should. That's easier to see than a choke because you can kind of hide that. You can't hide this, man. Your arms are up there like you're waving the crowd on to say skull. Maybe that's what you were doing, but don't do it. Don't freaking do it. It sends a bad message. And by the shot across the bow of Nathaniel Hackett is exactly the same thing. Okay? It's not physically done, but it's verbally done. And now it could come back to bite the Broncos big time. Because you opened up your big mouth. You tried to play it off like, oh, I put on my Fox hat. No, you didn't. You put on your Sean Payton hat. The ones that you've done prior to that. Let's hope that it doesn't come back to bite you again. Because now it's a freaking pattern. And I'm not liking this pattern one bit. I thought you were different. Now we might be seeing the true Sean Payton. Remember, whatever you do on film or internet or what do they call that stuff? Like Facebook and stuff. What do they call that? I don't know. Whatever they call it. When you do that, it's out there forever. And those videos came back to bite you, and I saw them, and it's true. Don't do it, Sean. Nip it. Nip it in the butt. Nip it. All right. Okay, let's go to Sean. Glenn says, full disclosure, Broncos a Vikings fan. I've mentioned many, many times, Glenn, I'm a Vikings. I'm sorry. It says Bill's a Vikings fan. I've been a Vikings fan since 1970. I became a Broncos fan in 1976. I've told my story on here many times. I'll be willing to share it again if anybody wants to listen. I'm just not going to do it right now. But in 1976, I became a Broncos fan because of my older sister living in Littleton, Colorado in 1977. Okay. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that whole story, but that's the actual truth. So I'm not a closet Vikings fan. I'm a Vikings fan in the NFC. When the Broncos and Vikings play this year in November, I'm going for the Broncos 100%. Absolutely 100%. Period. And my nephew, Bobby, knows that. And so it's all good. Anyways, okay, let's move on. Now, Aaron Rodgers is getting into the fray. Aaron Rodgers has taken a shot at the comment Sean Payton made about Nathaniel Hackett last week. Rodgers said, and I quote, "It made me feel bad that someone who has accomplished a lot in the league is that insecure that they have to take another man down to set themselves up for some easy fall if it doesn't go well for the Broncos this year." End quote. What? Rodgers, you have lost your freaking mind. You make it sound like Sean Payton made this stuff up. All he's doing is revealing exactly what Hackett was and did. Hackett had one of the worst head coachings on any given team in the entire NFL ever. I mean, I know some teams have gone undefeated, not undefeated. Well, they have, but I know there's some teams that have gone winless all year, but not when you have pedigree players on your team. I mean, sure, there's other teams that's gone, 0-for, and I guess one of them Cleveland or something like that, Detroit maybe, but those are teams that had horrible, horrible players. So this is totally different. But to say that Sean Payton is insecure, that he has to put down Nathaniel Hackett to take some pressure off of him in case the Broncos don't have a good year, Rodgers, you have lost it, dude. You know that time, Rodgers, that you went down in that little dark cave or whatever to like hang out and try and find yourself? I think you're still lost, dude. I really think you're still lost because that is stupid. That to me is ridiculous. Come on, man. Really? I continue. And then he continued to say, and I think it's way out of line, inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coaches' names out of his mouth. End quote. Guess what, Rodgers? That ain't going to happen. Not going to happen anytime soon. Because you know what? I know you're loyal to Hackett because of, the relationship and the, wins and stuff you had in Green Bay. But I'm going to follow up with something, speaking of the Jets and Rodgers that you're now on. I'm going to follow up with something here in a few segments here. And we'll see if you come back and have anything to say after that. All right. No, I'm not changing my name from Bronco Bill to Minnesota Bill. That's not happening. No. Now I don't even have a Minnesota podcast or a Minnesota show anywhere. I never have. It's always been Bronco Bill. Always will be. Come on, look at the back wall. Is there any Viking stuff back there? No, I don't think so. Got the Chicago Cubs, yeah, but not Viking stuff. Sorry, but no, and I didn't take it down prior to any of my shows. I don't do that. Okay, let's see. Big E says, "Who cares about what Aaron Rodgers says? He can go back to his dark room." That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, that's weird, man. Somebody go in the dark. I don't know how many days or hours or whatever. Who would want to? Talk about strange and weird. Maybe he was smoking. Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know, man. Who knows? Couldn't see what he's doing. I'm not even going there, guys. Not going there. All right, Nathaniel Hackett. With people like Aaron Rodgers and others stating that Sean Payton was out of line to say the things he said, let's put this in perspective. And this is what I was talking about. Okay, here we go. Put this in perspective. Under Nathaniel Hackett, the Broncos scored an average of 6.9 points a game. Ironically, or maybe not so ironically, in last night's Hall of Fame game, the Jets scored, 16 points and lost to the Browns. Okay, now Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach? Nope, he's an offensive coordinator. Okay, Aaron Rodgers didn't play the game, or so what? Doesn't matter. There were times when Russell Wilson didn't play in Broncos games, and we had the backup in there, Rip it, I believe, and we could only manage 16 points. That's what I'm saying, guys. See this smile? Yeah, take that, Hackett. Yeah, you think what Sean Payton was saying was wrong? No, he was absolutely 100% correct. You're not that good of a head coach, or you're dang sure not that good of an offensive coordinator. It takes more than just you and Aaron Rodgers. It takes more than that. And yes, it's preseason, but I just thought that very, very coincidental. No, very dead on that the Jets would only score 16 points. Let's just hope this carries over into the regular season, because I'm going to love every single minute of it. Because even though Sean Payton should keep his mouth shut, if that were the case, he's not going to. Not going to. But I just thought that was interesting. All right. Here we go. This one is even more serious, guys, than just a year-long suspension. All right? And I know I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, and I've been practicing all afternoon, and it still comes out like 18 different ways to say it. So here you go. Maybe I get it right. Maybe I don't. According to the Des Moines Register, a gambling probe for the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation named Uwazurike for not only betting on 2 Iowa State games he played in during the 2021 season, but making 32 wagers on Broncos players and games during his rookie season in the 2022 season. Now, I know I mentioned this last week, but it gets worse, guys. It gets worse. Here's the reason why. Did you hear the first phrase I said? According to the Des Moines Register of Gambling probe by the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, named Uwazurike for betting on, and continues. Okay? Now, my thing is this. The NFL doesn't put out or doesn't press criminal charges for betting that I know of. I could be totally wrong. And Glenn, if you know anything, or anybody out there in the chat knows anything different, please chime in. I appreciate it. As far as I understand, it's not a crime to bet anywhere unless it's illegal, of course. But if you're in a legal state or whatever and can bet, like DraftKings or Sportsbook or whatever, I don't think that's a criminal offense. What I'm reading in here is it's from the Iowa Register Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation. I'm thinking and I'm believing that the criminal act or the criminal investigation here in Uwazurike is because he bet on Iowa football games. And in Iowa, if that is a crime as a player to bet on games that you're playing in, he is in deep kimchi. He is in hot water big time. And we're not just talking about a slap on the wrist. We're not talking about just a year suspension in the NFL, which now looks like, if this goes to fruition and this goes to a jury or whatever, he may be done for the entire career. And Denver just lost another guy. Well, we knew we lost him for the year, but we could lose him forever, most likely. So if Iowa is pressing charges and they're investigating his involvement in betting on Iowa, it says Iowa State, but Iowa Hawkeyes are, I thought that's where he played. Maybe he played in Iowa State. Either way, it's in the state of Iowa. And if there's a crime for betting on games that you're playing in, he is in trouble. Big time. Big freaking time. Okay? I continue. Uwazurike is also accused of, oh boy, this is serious. Uwazurike is also accused of tampering with records, according to the criminal complaint. Wow. So not only did you bet on the Broncos, it's 32 times you bet on Bronco players and games. He also bet on, on Iowa games that he played in, as well as the games he played in with Denver. And now he's trying to cover it up. Dude, you just double incriminated yourself. So you're really not thinking up here, are you? You know you can't do this. I've mentioned this hundreds and hundreds of times in my previous shows. You cannot do this. And they continue to think they're above the law and continue to think that they can do whatever they want and they're not going to get caught. Well, I'll just cover it up. I just tamper with the records. I'll have somebody else put the bet in, but it's really me. Eventually, your sins are going to find you out, guys. Eventually, you're going to get caught. And you waste your entire career because you were greedy, because you weren't thinking, because you thought you were above the law. You thought different. These guys are never going to learn. Never, ever, ever, ever going to learn. I was going to use that as my jackass of the week. Excuse me, jackass of the week. Jackass of the week, but I did that last week, but I just thought I'd just follow up on that. But my goodness. I mean, I'm speechless. I don't know what else to say. All right. Robert Marino, my nephew says, lock him up. I agree. I mean, if you did a criminal act, you deserve to be punished. Absolutely. In fact, I didn't put this in the article, but I do remember from reading it that he's facing a possible 2 years in jail for it. Well, if he's 2 years in jail, he ain't coming back to the NFL. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, we've had other people have crimes and stuff and they come back. So I don't know. Sometimes I have no idea what the NFL is thinking on any given person or incident. Anyways, I thought that's very, very sad. Very, very sad that now the four players that we don't have due to injury and a heart condition, and Uwazurike we knew he was going to be out for a year anyways. Looks like he's not coming back forever. Maybe sometimes these guys will grow up and learn, but not in the very immediate future. Now, speaking of, well, we weren't speaking of anything weird, but we are now. This is a very, very disturbing news to me in many different ways. And I'm not going to preface it with any, lead up like Jackass of the Week or whatever. Not going to do that. I'm just going to, because I don't know why a person goes out and does this. I have no idea. I know it's monetary reasons, but this is really, really weird. Really weird to me. Here we go. Though through OnlyFans, and no, I'm not in OnlyFans. I don't do that. I'm taking this from the article that said that's how they found out through OnlyFans. Former Clemson linebacker TJ Dudley made money selling images of naked, unaware teammates in the Clemson locker room, per Beating the Bookie. Now, don't say anything in the chat about beating anything, but that's where I'm getting this from. Okay, it's legit. I didn't see the pictures because I don't go into OnlyFans, but I read where it's totally legit. Here's the thing that bothers me. First and foremost, why in heaven's name would a guy be doing that? Now, I know he wants to make money, but that's weird, man. That is absolutely freaky to me. I mean, just twisted. Absolutely twisted. What the heck is going on with these players, man? I mean, whether it's college, NFL, it's just weird, strange, just deranged to me. I just don't get it. I continue. After the team learned of this matter, they kicked him off the Clemson team, and he has since transferred to Ole Miss. What? Okay, something is wrong with college. Something is drastically wrong with college. Okay? He goes out and makes money taking these images or posting these images and getting money and revenue from this, from players that are unaware this is happening. And then he, immediately Clemson does the right thing and kicks him off the team. But then Ole Miss picks him up? Are you freaking kidding me? What is wrong with Ole Miss? I mean, Peyton Manning should be, or he went to Tennessee, but Eli Manning should be pissed off at his alma mater because he went to Ole Miss. What is wrong with these? I know they want. Oh well, maybe he's a good player, so we want him on the team. We want him on the team, but we don't care what he does in the locker room. Hey, that's we got covered up. We can't show that stuff. No. We want him because he's a great player. When does the integrity step in? When does the take the high road and say no? We're not condoning that. We're not bringing you in here, so now you can do it with our players. Come on, man. Seriously. I would have thought no team in the right mind would have picked him up or have allowed him to sign on. None whatsoever. I would have said, nope, we don't want nothing to do with you. We can't trust you. We may be a good player, but our integrity and who we are as a college is not going to condone to that. Nope, not Ole Miss. Ole Miss says, yeah, come on in, man. Hey, we'll take you. No problem. You just transfer over. We got your back. Well, maybe a front. But anyways, it's just, come on. That is absolutely preposterous to me why you would stoop that low to allow this guy to come on your team and turn a blind eye. Well, he did that in Clemson. He ain't going to do it here. Bull. BS. You do it once and you stop. Okay. All right. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But I'm not saying he's done it before. I don't know. I have no idea. Did he do it in high school? I don't know. But he sure did it in college. Oh my gosh. My show would only be about half this long if I didn't have all these crazy nuts in here. All these crazy topics and stuff. Yeah, Robert, I totally agree. Absolutely, totally agree, Robert. What a weirdo. Yeah, who does that? Are they that hard up? Sorry, I said that. Are they that desperate to make money? Are they that desperate to make money? Sure, I know in college they don't get paid to play football and stuff like that. And I know that's an ongoing thing with a whole lot of people out there. And I understand that. But anyway, I'm not going down that road. But, so I know that they need money. So go get a real job. Go get a freaking job. Okay? Not taking pictures like that and post it on there and then get money that way. All right. I move on. I'm done with that one. All right. Washington Commanders. Now this is interesting because I love what I'm about to say. Washington Commanders have received over 15,000 signatures to change the name back to the Washington Redskins. Good. And the number continues to climb in signatures. Good. There's nothing wrong with the name Redskins. There's nothing wrong with it. Come on. They've been called that forever. And by the way, the one leading the signatures by the fans is an Indian tribal. I don't know if they call them nation. Probably not tribal nation. Maybe they are. I don't know. But it's backed up, or it's actually handed out by a tribal nation. I'll call it tribal nation. It's actually handed out by them. They want the Redskins name back, and they should. Okay, when you have a nickname for a team or an organization or something like that, it is a tribute, or maybe not tribute. It is a form of a compliment. Okay, it's a compliment to that region, that people. You call it the Colorado Avalanche are called the Avalanche. Why? Because of the Rocky Mountains and the Avalanche. They're paying respect. Well, I shouldn't say respect. They're letting people know that that's the area in the region they live in. Okay, Kansas City Chiefs. What's wrong with that name? It's not, because there's a lot of Indian tribes and whatnot from that area. They're paying respect to those people. Okay, that's what it is about. Now, sure, you got some named after animals and birds and things like that. Okay, because of that type of animal or bird that is in that city or state. Period. You're paying a respect to that. What is wrong with paying respect to the Washington Redskins? That the Indians were there in that area, in that region. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Nothing wrong with it. And when you have an Indian tribe who has over 15,000 signatures wanting to change the name back to the Washington Redskins, I don't see any freaking thing wrong with that. None. And I've been in favor since day one when they changed the name that was stupid. It's totally stupid. Because now what are you going to do? You're going to go down and start a list you can't have. Well, they already changed the Cleveland Indians, and that was dumb. Because, hello, they are Indians. Hello, they're Indians. What's wrong with that? I mean, what are you going to call them? I mean, what? I mean, in my opinion, if they want to change it from the name of the Indians, why don't they just call them the Cleveland Native Americans? Why not? Same thing. They're Indians. They're Native Americans. Call them that. Nope. Guardians. What the heck? I know I'm all in favor of going back to the Washington Redskins, plain and simple. Period. They're in the history books of the Redskins, and in my opinion, they always will be. Always will be. Nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Okay? I'm not racist. I'm not whatever you guys want to call it. I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with that. That's because that's what they called themselves when they were in Washington back then. All right? It's okay. You can do that. It's not wrong. All right. I'm going to end this show with this. And this is interesting, and I'm going to bring up a couple of points. So here we go. Sean Payton, week 1. He said to the players, okay, guys, we're down 6-9 with a minute and 32 minute 32 left in the game. Let's drive down and win this game. Wait a minute. Huh? We're down 6-9. That's a Nathaniel Hackett type of score. Oh, was he throwing another dig? Possibly that says, hey, we're down 9-6 with a minute 32 to go in the game, and let's try and win this thing? Was that another encrypted message towards what Hackett's teams were? Maybe. I'm just interested why he didn't say it was 23-20 or 24-21 or 17-14. Nope. He says, guys, we're down 9-6 with a minute 32 left in the game. Let's drive down and win this game. Okay. I continue. Russell Wilson and the Broncos offense bounced back on that 2-minute drill. Okay. Broncos go from their own 38 to the defense's 34-yard line in a minute and 29 seconds to set up a 52-yard game-tying field goal. Did Brett Maher make it? Brett Maher nailed it to technically set up overtime. Well, that makes me think again. So if he said it was 9-6, I can understand if it was 9-6 first half. 9-6 at the end of the game, to me, in my opinion, that was a dig at Nathaniel Hackett. And because the Broncos couldn't score diddly squat in 2022 in the games that Hackett was head coaching. So I think that was the inside dig. I kind of like it now that I look at it because, Sean Payton's just digging that needle. I just don't like him doing it as a pattern. It's a pattern. I just don't. This was hidden. This was somewhat hidden. So I kind of like that. When you come out and verbally say things or make gestures and things like that, that's going a little bit far in my opinion. But in any case, I kind of like that to wrap up the show because, Maher made the field goal, which is great because he wasn't all that good last year and for Dallas. So that's a good sign. The 9-6 score to end the game or, in the last, inside the 2 minutes of the game, I thought that was a dig towards Hackett. So I kind of like that little hidden message. So on a parting shot, Hackett, take that. That's it, guys. That's all I have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you have not, please do so. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and remember to always check out the shows on Friday. You can go back and watch the shorts on YouTube that are clipped out of all of the MHRT network shows. Really good short clips that you guys can catch some key points. Just want to, before I head out, just want to thank those in the chat. As always, Big E, Bronco, Avatar. As always, got Jerry Wallace. Thank you so much. Rudy Torres, my brother-in-law. Thank you too. We got Robert Marino, my nephew. Glenn Hauser of the MHRT Network. Thanks so much, guys, for being in the chat. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate your comments, your insight, your knowledge, and all of that. Guys, you know the shows upcoming this week. It is the Cluster Puck on Monday, 5280 on Tuesday, followed by the no nonsense of whiskey. You have the Wild West on Wednesday, and then you have Orange and Brews on Thursday, and then this show, Broncos Breakdown, once again next Friday at 5, 6, 7, and 8. Most likely a very special guest for an encore performance, so to speak, encore interview. That's next Friday. So, guys, I hope you all tune in. Can't wait to do it next Friday. Till then, guys, have a very, very wonderful rest of your weekend coming up, and we will talk to you next Friday. Till then, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.